Hello, and welcome back to our series about the 250th anniversary of the birth of the United States. In this series, we look at records that relate to one of two themes of North Carolina's commemoration of America 250, Revolutionary NC, where we focus on the records of the Revolutionary War itself. In this video, we're focusing on the Revolutionary NC theme by looking specifically at the records that document the service of American patriots. By patriot, we mean individuals who served for the United States, as opposed to loyalists who served for Great Britain in the Revolutionary War. We'll discuss records relating to loyalists in a later video. You might think that most records documenting the service of a patriot would highlight actions in battle or chronicle the patriots' movements across the fronts of the Revolution. However, most surviving records are financial in nature, created for compensating soldiers for their service or to redress grievances about that compensation. We'll follow one soldier's journey through these financial records. Our patriot is a lieutenant from the North Carolina Continental Line, Jeremiah Bullock. Following his journey through 4 record categories, we'll see Bullock's payments for services rendered during the Revolutionary War. Let's first look at troop returns. These records, which are part of our military collections, date from 1747 to 1893. But the bulk of the collection relates to the Revolutionary War. Troop returns encompass payroll records, muster rolls, general returns, and draft and enlistment records. Returns usually just report the names of the officers and the number of enlisted men. Names of individual soldiers are rarely included. In contrast, draft and enlistment records give the names of the enlisted men and sometimes include descriptions of individual men, such as height, age, or race, making them valuable for documenting military service. Many North Carolinians fought for the Continental Army, following an order by the Continental Congress for states to supply men to this army. This is commonly referred to as the Continental Line, and related troop returns are usually organized by military unit or location. Local militia records generally include the names of the officers and soldiers, and are typically organized by district or county. This troop return includes our first encounter with Lieutenant Jeremiah Bullock. He marched from Halifax in 1778 as part of the Continental Line. Notice that all we see here are a list of the men who joined this specific unit. Troop returns do not usually include more narrative information. All troop returns are available online as part of our digital collections. Individual soldiers are not indexed, so you should search by county and date to narrow your results. The next series are Revolutionary War account books and pay vouchers. These records are a part of the Treasurer's and Comptroller's records, so naturally they document payment provided to patriots during the Revolutionary War. At the state level, records of payment are the most common way to find a patriot's name listed. The account books and pay vouchers are two products of the same process. During or immediately following the Revolutionary War, soldiers would receive payment for their service in either the Continental Line or the militia, usually in the form of a pay voucher that they could then take to the appropriate officer to receive payment. Those payments are recorded in the account books. Here's an account book entry for Lieutenant Jeremiah Bullock. Notice that the account book is usually just a list of names. You may need to look for a previous page to provide more information. Sometimes account books record the military district where the soldier received payment. In other cases, the account book may state more generally that the payments go to soldiers of the Continental Line. There are cases where the account books provide no useful contextual information, so you can verify service, but nothing else from this entry. Once a soldier has used their voucher, officials punch 2 holes into the document to ensure that soldiers would not attempt to cash the voucher more than once. Revolutionary War account book entries are searchable in our online catalog, Doc. Pay vouchers are not indexed in Doc, so it's always worth checking the vouchers on microfilm or on Family Search to see if you can find a specific soldier. The vouchers are arranged alphabetically for easy searching. As payment for their service in the Revolutionary War, patriots could receive land grants from the state. Land grants given for military service were almost exclusively for land in what is now Tennessee, and many men didn't want to move to Tennessee, so they sold their rights. This makes land grants tricky, so be sure to read the contents of a grant fully before claiming that it proves military service. As a rule of thumb, grants for service are typically labeled as bounty land warrants. A good example is this land warrant issued in 1788 to William Stewart for his service as a private in the Continental Line. The grant applied to a tract of land in what is now Davidson County, Tennessee. Jeremiah Bullock received a land grant for 154 acres in Granville County in 1795. Was this grant issued for Bullock's service? The amount of land is lower than is typical for a bounty land warrant, and Granville County isn't as far west as is typical for bounty land warrants. Our best guess is therefore that Bullock's grant wasn't for his service, especially given the next record that we'll discuss, but we cannot know with certainty. If you find a land grant for a potential patriot, be sure to use other records to show that the land grant was issued for their service. Land grants are searchable in the online catalog doc by name. Additionally, you can find many land grants digitized on the website NC Land Grants or on FamilySearch.org. The final group we want to highlight are the Secretary of State military papers. This series goes hand in hand with the land grants. This is where you can find contextual information about land grants issued for military service, such as a dispute over failure to issue a grant or changes to heirs in the grant. I should point out that these records primarily apply to lands now in Tennessee, but the Patriots come from all parts of North Carolina. Our friend Jeremiah Bullock shows up again in this series. This time it's his heir, George Bullock, applying for a land grant for his service in 1835. That's nearly 60 years from the time that Jeremiah Bullock first served in the Continental Line. This petition makes sense, as we did not find a land grant for Jeremiah Bullock's service in earlier years. This record shows that a grant was provided to George Bullock for 914 acres. Staff are currently working on creating a full searchable index of this series for online research. For now, you can check out our physical index in the card catalog in the search room, or ask a reference archivist to search for a specific patriot for you. As we commemorate America 250, we encourage you to research Revolutionary Patriots, whether they're in your family or you have an interest in them for historical scholarship. Troop returns, Army accounts and pay vouchers, land grants, and the Secretary of State military papers will help you get started on your research. Our team of reference archivists can advise you where to go based on what you find. Thank you for watching this America 250 video. Please remember to subscribe to the State Archives of North Carolina YouTube page for future America 250 videos. See you soon.